All righty, I want to welcome on my next guest. We got longtime New York Giant, New York Jet, NFL coach. He does it all. Sam Garnes. Sam, how's everything going for you?
Everything's going well, considering the times that we're in right now. Everything's going pretty well. I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking time. So you're still in the New York area, right?
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey. I'm in the northern part of New Jersey, right across the bridge.
Oh, cool.
I can't never be too far away from home.
No.
Even when I worked out of town, coached in different towns, I always had a place in New Jersey. And New York, the Bronx, I grew up in the Bronx.
Oh, cool.
Not necessarily living there right now, but I'm close enough to see my family members at all times.
My mother's from Westchester, so we're always going around there.
I know that really well.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah.
I live steps away from Mount Vernon and Yonkers.
Oh, cool. No, yeah, the Westchester Mall used to be, I remember like back in the day.
Exactly.
And everything.
Everybody was there.
That was the first mall I've ever got charged for parking for, ever.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I was too young. So I don't even remember. I used to just go tag along with my mother. You know what I'm saying? Then,
Yeah.
We got older. We wasn't driving. We was like either walking or taking a bus or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know a couple months ago, New York, Jersey weren't doing so well with the case, but you guys really got a good handle on it. Is it kind of manageable now? It's
kind of manageable right now. I believe, in my opinion, I feel like, it's been around, and I don't want to say we have herd immunity, but it's kind of baffling the numbers. The amount of people being tested is going up, but the percentage of people that have it is dropping almost every time they do it. So it's going well. I think a lot of people around here do a good job of wearing masks, separating. And even when I'm in a park near me, you'll see people have their masks all the time.
Oh, cool.
Not everyone does it, but for the most part, a lot of us are doing it.
Do you have any hesitations about NFL season? Or are you confident?
NFL season, only hesitation I have is, as things start to unfold in college, there's a lot of NFL players that have concerns on their own. It's a money business, so you can't get mad at NFL trying to make it work so they can have a money grab over the next couple of months, because there's been a lot of money lost, and they want to be able to get their hands on what they can. But it's a lot of players that already bowed out. Took the money, and I don't want to say ran, but they made the right decision.
Well, they got to pay it back next year, so that's going to be a whole other issue.
That's intriguing to me. I didn't know that initially. I found out recently.
I think it's kind of. I don't like that. I understand it's a lot of money that they kind of like just can't lose, but like if guys, I know they said it comes out of the next year's contract is guaranteed, but if guys get cut or aren't doing it, you're not going to go chasing down guys. You can't do that.
Some teams will, some teams won't, but some teams will. Yeah. But like I said, so right now, we got to grasp one things around here, around the country. Everybody seemed like to be pointing the finger at us earlier, and now it's kind of going other places. And we just hope they have a speedy recovery as well. Definitely.
So I want to ask you a little bit about your early career. So I saw you. So Cincinnati, how did they get on your radar?
So I grew up and played. Like I said, I played my football in the Bronx. Played at Clinton High School. And at the time, our coach at the time did not have a lot of connections. He was just becoming the head coach, getting his foot wet. The coach we had prior to, he did. But that didn't really help me. My rival coach from John F. Kennedy, Jerry Horowitz, like a team we did not like at all. The police had to be at the end of games because not only because of the players, and not because of fans only, but our cheerleaders were fighting when the game was over. It was that serious of a rivalry. I did not talk to them. As a matter of fact, my senior year, I didn't get to play against them because I tore my ligaments in my ankle a week before, and I just thought it was over. And then this coach, he reached out to all the coaches that were coming into his school and pointing them to my school, and I got a bunch of scholarship offers. When I went to University of Cincinnati, the funny thing about that is the November prior to, so it's 1991, November 1991. I watched them play Penn State. They got beat by Penn State by 81 points. 81-0. Me and my friends in my neighborhood was like, I'll never go to that school. We clowning it, And then 4 or 5 months later, I accepted the scholarship because when I went there, I saw a bunch of guys and coaches that really wanted to have success, and they were really working at it and talking to everyone individually. They really wanted it. I wanted to be a part of something like that. So that's why I ended up going.
When you were there, was the NFL on your radar at all, or were you just kind of focused on college?
NFL was on my radar, and so 13 years old. So 1987, the NFL was in my mind. That doesn't mean it was going to work. It just worked out. I knew in my mind. So that doesn't mean I could tell the future. In my mind, I knew I was going to be in the NFL. There was never any doubt. Anytime, I was very competitive. My technique wasn't great, but I don't care who it was in the New York City area. If they were good, me and my friends would go to their neighborhood And when we leave, they was gonna know I was better than them.
Oh, cool.
And that was my mentality. We didn't have social media, so when I trained, and we had guys, and I'm thinking about how great guys are in California, in Tennessee, Louisiana, all these different great places, Florida. I just had to imagine that they were outworking me, and I had to outwork my imagination, and that it paid off for me. But I really believe when I went to college, even though I was at Cincinnati, even though I first walked in campus, I was like third or fourth string. I moved up pretty quickly, but I never let that put self-doubt. I never allowed that to creep into my mind.
So what was your draft process like?
So coming out after my junior year, I was tied for number 2 interceptions. Had a great junior year. My coaches talked me out of going to NFL, and I just didn't know any better. So I stayed. And when I stayed, I ended up having a job in the summer that paid me good money, but it took a toll on my body. And then as the season started, I felt like I wasn't prepared, not just because of that. I wasn't thinking that. I'm looking back on that now, saying that. But I just felt like I didn't have the same juice. The first game, I had probably about 20 scouts in the stadium to see me. I did not play very well.
Oh, wow.
I played poorly. I ended up having a decent year. But I didn't play as good as I normally played because my mind, I believe, was at the next level. And long story short, after the draft, after the combine and everything, I forgot what team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They told me they was going to draft me in the second round. So I was kind of excited. I still was down. I thought it was a first round pick.
Yeah. And
I was down. Thought I was going to get drafted in the second round. And as it came around, they didn't draft me. Next thing you know, I got the biggest headache ever in the history. I'm telling my friends I'm getting drafted. We think about having a draft party. So that just screwed my day up, my weekend up. And then next thing you know, come 5th round, a team that I did not expect at all, New York Giants, my hometown New York Giants, drafted me. And I still wasn't that excited, but I was happy to go back home. I wasn't excited. I was on a mission. And I remember being in the locker room, being in the weight room. I saw Jim Foster, who was the head coach at the time. I told him I'm going to be a starting safety. He kind of laughed at me. He kind of laughed it off. He didn't think that – he wasn't making fun of me, but he laughed because I'm pretty sure all rookies talk tough like that.
Yeah.
But I really meant it. And by the last preseason game, I was starting. I started every game in my career except for one.
That's awesome. The question, most annoying NFC East fan base?
I'm going to say annoying. And you already know the answer to this. So I already know this is a setup. Yeah. But I'm going to say annoying, but at the same time, believe it or not, there's a profound respect. Philadelphia Eagles. There's no question. And some people can make the case for Dallas Cowboys because they could be 7-9 and their fans still think they're the number 1 team in the NFL, which we do respect that. Yeah. But the Eagles, we really did not like each other. The New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles did not like each other at all. And that just happened to be my first game of the season, my rookie season. And I ended up getting an interception, taking it back 95 yards to preserve the win for my team. And that felt great because I remember Carl Banks and Randall Cunningham, all these great players watching. I grew up a New York Jet fan, but I knew, I knew what the rivalry was about. But then when you face them, their crowd, they do not give you a break. That crowd is as good as the old Oakland Raider fans. They support their team and they hate your team. And they're gonna call you everything in a book. They're gonna make you very uncomfortable before the game. But the great thing about it, I built a rapport with some of the fans that we used to chew each other out. And at the end of the games, every time I played in Philadelphia, we used to all meet up in a stadium somewhere on the way to the buses, and I just speak to their fans. So I gained a lot of respect for them.
That's awesome.
During the process.
Did you have any jitters or anything about performing for your hometown team with that big of a fan base?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was a person that tried to deny those jitters, that feeling that you have being nervous. I try to overcome it somehow, some way. But you get in the game and you are a rookie and you in the huddle with guys like Michael Strahan, Jesse Armstead, Jason Sehorn, Corey Miller, Keith Hamilton. There's so many great players I was playing with that I looked up to and seen them play when I was just a year ago in college. And, you go out there, you want to play well for them. So I was a little bit nervous at some point, but once I get that big hit or get that big contact, that all went away.
I have a question. Did you play with Justin Tuck? Was he on any of those teams?
Justin Tuck was after me. And He played probably about 2 or 3. He lives in my neighborhood now.
Oh, cool.
We had the same agent, and so I knew of him pretty well, of course, watching him in college. Yeah. And then once he worked with my agent, then that he's a great man. Great man. I wish I had a chance to play with him. That front four that he had with him and the rest of those guys. Even
OC Menora.
Oh man, that was one of the great front fours that don't get the respect that they deserve. They get it here, but not nationally. They don't get the respect they deserve.
I think people forget how impactful Justin Tuck was.
Big time.
Strahan got all the headlines, but Tuck was incredible.
Tuck was versatile. Played outside, played inside. Yeah. He could stand up. Did a lot of things. Really good.
Yeah. Who was the toughest receiver for you to cover?
So I didn't really have to cover too many receivers being at safety. Like they try to keep me out of the way.
Yeah.
At that time, because I was a box safety.
Yeah.
But I know playing against, most people don't want to hear it. Terrell Owens is a beast. He was one. I mean, so many great. Randy Moss. I mean, I played against some of the greatest players that ever played the game at the time with Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. I didn't play against Jay Rice, but he's a little bit older in his career. He still was giving everybody help. Yeah. But I would say between Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, guys that were in St. Louis at the time, those receivers that was in St. Louis.
Oh yeah,
they were really good too. They was good as a unit. They were good individually, but they was good as a unit as well. But I just know when you play against Terrell Owens, if you didn't come to play, he was going to embarrass you. He's going to run through you, run by you. And then Randy Moss, he's the only guy that I know. I don't care how tough. A lot of NFL players, especially DBs, have this bravado.
Yeah.
Maybe at times false bravado. And we think that we're great. And we think that no one can touch us. When we played against Randy Moss, we all backed up. Wow. You can see it on tape. It was very visible. You can see a guy 14 yards back when he should be 10 yards back. Because he was that great.
Who was the best trash talker you ever went up against?
Wow. Well, usually me and my teammates were the ones doing trash talking. But if I would have to say, I forget his name, but believe it or not, the Dallas Cowboys, one of the offensive linemen, I don't know if it was Flotel Adams or Eric Williams. Like, it's not so much that they talk a lot of trash.
Yeah.
I just, playing the NFC East, our D-line knew them, and I'm the new guy. I'm the new guy around. So I remember one time I was talking a lot, and I saw one of those guys tell, like, Keith Hamilton to somebody, you tell that little guy to keep his mouth shut. And the way he said it, I would not allow him to know it, but that was intimidating. And it was cool, though, but, that's things you learn as a rookie. But those guys are pretty tough. And, of course, Deion Sanders. The thing I love about Deion Sanders was he talked, but he outworked the talk. Yeah. I believe he's one of those guys that talked a lot because he wanted you to, of course, pay attention to him. Yeah. And that put a little bit of pressure on you to have a great week of preparation. And then come game day, he puts it all together. And that guy, like, he's a student of the game, and I learned a lot from him. But he's one of my favorite players, too.
It's another guy who kind of did something like that, kind of reminds me like kind of Kevin Garnett a little bit.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Garnett, same thing. Yeah. But Deion, Kevin Garnett definitely, without doubt, talked a lot. We know that. He was one of the great players.
He got so sweaty. Like 2 minutes into the game, he was drenched. I'm like, where have you been?
I know. Hey, I know where that comes from because that happens to me all the time.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, we'd be working out, and like people like, man, what's wrong with you? We just started, but I don't know something. I don't know where it comes from, but I just got that sweat thing that goes.
That's wild. What was kind of like the standout moment for you with your time with the Giants?
Great. That's another good question. So besides my interception as a rookie.
Did you keep that ball? The 95-yarder, you keep the ball?
Yes, I still have that ball. Right, cool. No question about that. So it was against Rodney Pete, and we was playing the Eagles, and we was up by 7, and they was marching down. And they was probably like on the 35-yard line, threw an interception, took it back from the 5, and all the way back to to score a 95-yard touchdown. That was a moment, since I've spoken there already, definitely going to Super Bowl. Even though we lost, it's something where when you go to Super Bowl, you have about, I think we was a 10-game win streak. Might have been like 7 or 8 games during the regular season and 2 games during the playoffs before we got to Super Bowl. And that means we went a couple buys mixed in there. So that means we had about 12 to 13 weeks of no losses. And that's just a real feeling as an NFL player. You first come to NFL, you think, I'm going to be different than anybody else. I'm winning all the games I'll play. That's not how it works. They get paid too, and they have a lot of talent as well. So to be in a stretch where you don't lose a game for like 12 weeks or something like that was amazing. And also to jump on top of that, to combine with that would be the NFC Championship when you beat Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Dante Culpepper and Robert Smith. We beat them 41-zip. And that was incredible.
I heard that the Ravens were so glad you guys beat Minnesota because I heard they were scared of them.
Well, I'll be shocked if they were scared of them, not the Ravens, because when we watched them on TV, well, offensively they definitely had the
because they had CC and Moss.
They had but the thing about it is I don't think they had they had Randy Moss and CC. But
did they have Randall? Was Randall the QB?
No, it was Dante Culpepper.
Oh, okay.
Dante Culpepper was the quarterback at that time. But I don't think they was afraid. I think what they believed was that it was a better matchup for them with our offense.
Yeah.
Not that they wouldn't do good against the other team.
No.
But they really felt like they could clamp down our offense. I knew a couple guys on that defense, and I just knew. I remember during the game, it was a play where they made a tackle. Ray Lewis ran down Tiki Barber in a way that has not happened all year. And I felt like when that happened, that took the air out of our offense, which kind of lingered and kind of was passed on to our defense as well.
Interesting.
Trickled down to our defense.
I have a question. As somebody from New York, playing in New York for basically your whole career, even the games in Jersey, you played in New York.
Yes.
Was there a lot of distractions, especially knowing people, like with all the people around? Like I'm thinking like this year with all the guys in there, like, all right, we got to make sure guys do their thing. But you're in these big cities and you're like the kings walking around these cities. And for you, you're from there. Was it hard to kind of manage everything?
Yeah. Excuse my language, but I'm an asshole. It was never a problem for me, not at all, because I had my mentality, I had my mindset. I heard a bunch of players talking about that being an issue for them. Yeah. I wasn't gonna let that. I had the mindset if you wasn't supporting me in high school, in college, I'm not even thinking. I don't care how long I knew you. If you wasn't supporting me, so I had a few members of my family, and a friend or two that I made sure they was taken care of.
Oh, cool.
Everything else, did not allow to distract me.
That's wild. What was it like going out like after a big win in New York? With the bars?
I can't tell you everything.
Not everything. No. You skipped to the front of the line, I assume. Bottle service, everything.
I would say that. With that being said, whenever it was a place called, we had like a restaurant called. I remember Tiger Woods and a bunch of sports people owned it, and it was in Manhattan. And it was Hollywood something. It was Hollywood something. They had it. They also had the same place in Vegas. Anyway.
Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood.
I don't even know if they're still around.
There might have been one more.
I don't even know if
it was
still around.
Planet Hollywood and another place. But I think
they had the big globe outside, right?
Yes, and it was right in Times Square. So when we go up there, and we were the better team, we got sat down before the Jets, and vice versa. So and we just wanted to win. We just wanted to win games. I felt like at that time the Jets wanted to beat us, and our mindset was we wanted to just do well, and that would put us in position that we needed to be in the city. So definitely going out, definitely winning games lent you the opportunity to get some favorable situations.
Oh, cool.
But not really. That might happen more like in Green Bay or in Texas or something like that.
Green Bay,
New York, they'll
give you the key they give you the key to the city in Green Bay.
Correct, which is great. Which we all like. Yeah. But in New York, you got business owners, you got rappers, you got all kind of actors and you just get in line here. Like they don't need you. So only way that you stand out is by having success. Yeah,
that's awesome. And then how did you decide to make the move to the Jets? Because I assume you didn't have to move. I feel like that's the easiest transition in the NFL.
Definitely. But Jets were in Long Island. I didn't have to move. There's a Long Island. And I was based in northern New Jersey. And the problem with that is at that time, especially with traffic, it could be a 3-hour drive. So I had to get a place out there as well.
3 hours?
It could be. So I drive, no traffic, 50 minutes. The time that I had to go to work, you go through like 3 or 4 different traffic zones, it's definitely going to take 2 hours. And I remember one time, not exaggerating, this is the exact number, on Christmas Eve, we got out of work early, about 1 o'clock. I didn't get home until 7 o'clock. Because of traffic. Crazy. Snow and traffic. Literally 6 hours on a 45-minute drive.
Did Santa?
I'll never forget that.
Did Santa crash his sleigh in Manhattan?
He must have done something. He must have put salt in the middle or pepper in the middle of the street or something like that, because I don't know. It was snowing as well. Like it was a combination of traffic, like Christmas traffic and snow, which is bad. I get home, my daughter's like I think she's like 3 years old at the time. She's looking sad. You know what I'm saying? I ruined Christmas for everybody.
I think you're gonna say the reindeer got loose in at Rockefeller Center. And I have a question. So, how did you transition into coaching? Because I know you worked with John Fox.
Right. So that was it. So I remember when I was done playing, I coached high school for 1 year, and then then the same coach that got me the scholarship from John F. Kennedy High School in the Bronx, he just had me work with the NFL. He got me into coaching with NFL Europe.
Oh, cool.
They needed an intern. I was gonna get paid a little bit of money to be an intern, to be a DB coach, and then one of the coaches either took another job. I think he took another job, and then everybody moved up, so I became a DB coach.
Oh, cool.
And that was phenomenal. And my first time coaching NFL Europe. So then after that, I did a couple internships with people I knew. Sean Payton was on my staff.
Oh, really?
And Sean Payton was on my staff, and it was the New York Giants. He was offensive coordinator. We had a great rapport, so I did an internship with him. And then I did internship with John Fox. Then I did an internship with him. And then in 2008, I did a coaching visit, or 2009 coaching visit to internship with John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens, who was the only coach, him and his special team coach, John Rosberg. They were the only ones to be with me for 5 years in Cincinnati. So I got with them.
That's awesome.
Then after that, Coach Fox had an assistant special teams position open. I did not want to be an assistant special team, but he told me, Sam, you just get in the NFL the best way you can, and we'll moving forward, get you where you need to be. And that's what he did. 1 year with Carolina, then we went to Denver Broncos. I was a safeties coach.
That's awesome. I think Denver's defense a couple years ago it slept on.
Denver in general, that's a city that Jim Fossil, when he was my head coach, I used to tell him how much I like going to other places. He said, Sam, you need to go to Denver. And I never really believed him. I kind of wanted to go, but I always could think of a million other places to go first. Yeah. When I lived there, one of the great places. I think what I liked about it so much is not like home, so I didn't compare it.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed it, and it was great. It was a great living out there.
Cool. What was the elevation like?
Altitude, when you first get there, I don't care who you are, I don't care what type of shape you're in, walking up and down the steps will make you feel like you're about to pass out.
I heard you could get drunk off one beer.
You get drunk off 1 or 2 beers. That's great. Now, the bad or the good thing is when you come back to the East Coast or West Coast, where it's not the altitude is not high. Yeah. You could drink like a fish because you don't get as drunk when you come.
That's wild.
You come to New York.
That's incredible.
It's like training day.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That's incredible. That's wild. What are your thoughts on the Giants' current group? What do you like Daniel Jones? What are your thoughts on the whole rest?
I like Daniel Jones. I want to see how he is, of course, with holding on to the ball.
And he turned it over in every game. Nobody realized. I'm really watching every game. I'm like pick, fumble, every game.
Everything else is great, but he just have a super bad play here and there, But I really like his ability outside of that, and it was Saquon. And all the guys they have on off, I think the old line's gonna come together. I do it.
Well, they lost. What's his name? He opted out.
Yes.
After the attack. Yeah.
For the Patriots. Yes.
Yeah.
He opted out, but I think they have a young receiver core that's going to do what Daniel Jones wants him to do, which is important. Sometimes when you have a young quarterback, you don't really want a receiver that has clout or has the respect of the locker room because he might be able to demand something, and people look at Daniel like he's a problem. It's not really him.
No.
So I like this group that he has, but I'm interested to see how this year go. I mean, it's just it's hard for me to even guess because who knows what everybody's doing in preparation. I don't think this is a weird year, and I hope they have a good season. It wasn't fun going to the games as much last year. They was working their butts off, but it just didn't click last year. I hope this year they do.
What are your thoughts on the secondary? I know they brought in Bradbury. They got Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, so they had Jabril Peppers. They had the one guy that just got in trouble who was
I don't know what the hell he was doing.
That's crazy.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know the details, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Not good, especially now when they dropped the charges on the other guy.
Yeah, Dunbar's good.
DeAndre Baker. And I didn't really expect. I was looking forward to see what type of jump he's going to have this year. Last year he didn't play
first round pick.
But the secondary they have, I'm so confused this year. But I do look forward to seeing Jabril Peppers play.
Yeah.
I really like him. I follow him since college. He's from the area.
Yeah. I forgot he was from Jersey.
He's Orange, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And he's at home. But when I watch him and his preparation, I thought he was putting on a show. I think he's a guy that gets locked in, and the best players get locked in. Like I had the fortunate opportunity to be around a guy like Peyton Manning. Yeah. When you got a guy like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, those guys raise the level of the players around them. And I feel like Jabril Peppers will do that with his team.
Interesting. That's wild. Well, this has been a ton of fun. So I just wanted to thank you again for taking the time to chat. And then for people that are trying to find you on social media, I wanted to ask a question. I saw you have a foundation.
Yeah, Sam Garnes Foundation. And basically, it deals with not just inner city youth. I work with inner city youth. I also work with suburban kids.
Oh, cool.
I'm big on trying to, build our kids' mentality and through sports, but give an opportunity. We're in New York City area, and we have everything here. So there's a lot of kids that's in poor neighborhoods I grew up with, really that right near like some of the best things that life has to offer, but never really get to see it or be a part of it. And my goal is to bring some of those kids from the inner city and some of the kids from the suburbs, mix them in together and go do different events and just kind of build their mindset and teach them that it's more than just being an athlete, more than just being a musician. And you could be a doctor. I like to take them to Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren went to my high school.
Really?
So, way before me, his real name is Ralph Lipschitz. And
that I did not know. That's not. You can't market that as well.
No. Well, I don't want to say that, but Ralph Lauren does have a
Polo Ralph Lipschitz doesn't really just bring off the tongue as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that's a good name for the record, but Ralph Lauren is a real catchy name for clothing. And so I like to, give those guys an opportunity to be around people like that so they can see there's a lot out there for a lot of opportunities out there. And right before the pandemic, I went back to my elementary school, and our goal was to help raise funds to get these guys a gym. They have no gym in the school.
Really?
It's amazing. If you go to my Instagram, at Sam Garnes 241 or at Sam Garnes Football Academy, you'll see me do a visit to PS16 Elementary School, and they're playing gym inside a classroom.
Are you kidding?
It really broke my heart to see it. And the kids were doing it with a smile on their face because they don't know any better. And this is in New York City where we have as much money. I don't care what's going on. We have as much money as anybody. And so that's my thing. So as school gets back going, we'll get back rolling. And,
that's awesome.
Right now it's just a sensitive time. But again, you can follow me at Sam Garnes 241 or at Sam Garnes Football Academy or at Sam Garnes Foundation. I have a website for that, www.samgarnesfoundation.com.
Definitely. I'll link it all into when I post it so I can blow it up. Yeah, but I really, that's awesome. You guys, that's wild. You're playing in a classroom? Yeah. I've never heard that before.
In the classroom. The same school that when I went to, at times, you see kids now that, like my daughter went to a certain school and it'd be like 3 teachers in there, like 15 to 20 kids. I was in a class, it was like one teacher and like between 30 and 40 kids at
That's
time.
Insane.
Crazy. And you think about it, as a coach, I realized how difficult that was for that.
Yeah.
If you got a couple of kids being bad and being mischievous, they distracting the rest of the kids, distracting. I was
that kid. I was distracting everybody. So I know exactly what it's like.
I was trying not to point at myself. But really, so that's just tough. But, so those type of things, we're gonna get back involved with those schools, and we're going to build them up. And like I said, also I want to add to this, we also had a plan to get the NYPD involved.
Oh, cool.
I know Rodney Harrison, who is the chief of police.
Yeah.
And
Different Rodney Harrison. Different Rodney Harrison.
Different Rodney Harrison. Yes. That's the reason I remember his name so well, because the other Rodney Harrison. And
this one won't chase you. This one can't chase you down as quickly. He
won't be mean when he gets you.
Nah.
But he does have a big group of guys that will come and find him.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he was I met him through my high school classmate, Mel Moultrie, who was a sergeant and real close with him. And they brought me down to the revealing of their, at the time he was doing community police, he was in charge of that.
Oh, cool.
And I went to like the last event and I saw the way the community was like kind of demanding things and the police was just listening. And I told him, I said, what'd be great? If we could these some of the police in front of our kids, instead of telling the kids what they can't do, just listen to them and tell them how we can help them whatever they want.
Absolutely.
That's what they were doing for the community, and that's what I want them to do with our kids.
That's awesome.
All for it. And there's a lot of great cops that wanted to be involved with it. So I look forward to getting that going.
Absolutely. No, there's so many cops, especially with everything going on, there's so many cops that are getting a bad name. And I think the majority of cops or they have. I think the issue is you don't want to sell out a bad cop, and if you don't sell a bad cop,
That's
it makes
the
you
problem.
look bad.
That's the problem.
If your job is to police and to promote peace and to inequality and justice, and you see injustice going on with your coworkers, stop it.
Right.
That's the way we move forward.
That's what comes down to. And I'm glad you said that. So one of the big things of the cops coming and being part of the program, it's not just for the kids to see the cops. Yeah. It's for the cops to get to meet some of these kids that's in the community and see that, okay, maybe when he's 16 years old, you see him doing something wrong, instead of running him down and, tackling him and hold him down because you don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. You kind of have understanding who this guy is. Yeah. You go and talk to him and then, calm things a little bit.
Yeah, it all starts at the top. You got to build that
communication is everything.
100%. Well, that's awesome work you guys are doing. I'm happy I'll post that in there and put it in there to show all the great work you guys are doing. But this has been a ton of fun, man. So I just wanted to thank you again for taking time to chat.
This was great, man. Thank you so much. Great job, too.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, and be well.